Hey everyone, welcome back to InsideFlix. This is our weekly box office report. This is where we give you the rundown of the latest box office numbers. So let's get right to it. Rich, share with us which films secured a spot in the top 5 at the box office over the weekend.
For the 4th week in a row, the Super Mario Brothers movie is back on top with $40.8 million. Coming in number 2 is Evil Dead Rise with $12.1 million. Number 3 is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret with $6.7 million. Number 4 is Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, the 2023 re-release with $5.1 million. And round out the top 5 is John Wick Chapter 4 with $4.8 million.
Super Mario Brothers continues to be a box office powerhouse, showing no signs of losing its momentum. However, this week, and we'll talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 a little bit later, but this week, Super Mario Brothers will be facing a worthy competitor that could give him its first real battle.
Yep, another Chris Pratt movie.
Yeah. Yes, and it will potentially might lose its box office crown after 4 weeks, like you said, of dominance. So what is your feelings about this, becoming number 1 again with a slight drop, 31%?
It actually reached $1 billion this weekend, so it's the first film this year to reach $1 billion.
Yeah, and this is actually like a really amazing drop because like earlier in the week, like on Friday, it was expected to have like a 40% drop, and then I think it dropped to like 35, and now like it's at like a 31.9. And are these the actuals? I wouldn't be surprised if it might be.
These are the actuals.
Very impressive, man. Very impressive.
The movie itself has been a huge hit. I mean, I knew for sure it was going to be a big Easter Day opening, but to carry on success week after week for the past 4 weeks, that's the incredible part. This is, kids are in school now. I mean, there's no longer spring break. So,
well, it's not. Yeah, that shows that it's not just kids watching the movie.
Yeah,
though.
and it's got a magnetic draw that won't let go.
And unfortunately, Evil Dead Rise did not have quite that magnetic draw because I was hoping that this movie was going to have a little bit of a stronger hold. I was really kind of hoping Evil Dead Rise was going to be performing the way that Smile did last year, and that does not seem to be the case.
You got to remember, this is a low-budget movie, although I would say it's not like a box office phenomenon that Raymond was hoping it would be. But I think its performance demonstrates that horror movies are still relevant. Horror films are still appealing to an audience, and I think it's holding up good for now.
Yeah, because I think actually the main reason why Evil Dead Rise, because it did open very well, I think the main reason why it's not performing the way Smile is, it's just because it's honestly just not as good. It's Evil Dead Rise is a very solid movie. I saw it, but I mean, it is probably like the weakest Evil Dead movie in the franchise. So I mean, I can see it maybe being one that people are like, yeah, just watch it at home. You don't need to see it in theaters, is the truth. And let's talk a little bit about Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Because it came in, I think, pretty much around where we were kind of expecting it to come in, but this isn't a very good opening for this movie.
No, they dedicated a lot of screens to it too, with over 3,000 screens for this film, and it's they missed their mark because this is aimed towards women, young women for sure. And it seems like they much rather watch stuff that's on streaming now with the same topic.
Well, this seems to be the sad story of the week, right? So it struggled at the box office. It fails to gain much traction with audiences. It's a shame because it has a strong source material. People know this book. They know Judy Blume, as she has come up in the news lately. I guess it's just maybe timing of the release, or maybe there is a lack of interest from audiences.
Well, we were kind of expecting the movie to kind of come in around this number. I don't think the number is horrible. I just,
But the film itself has garnered great reviews, and it's got an A cinema score, and Rotten Tomatoes is damn right near the perfect score with 99%.
It's a critic hit. It's a critic hit.
People are saying it's better than the book.
Yeah. The critics have been citing that it has a nice balance of humor and drama, and I think it's resonating to a certain older demographic because they grew up on the book, they grew up on the story, and I think also older millennials are now becoming parents of young children, so I think they were relating to the story, but I think the target audience is too narrow.
Yeah.
I think because it's set in the 70s, that is kind of making it difficult for younger audience to connect with it. It's possible the generational gap is just too significant there.
This is a movie that would have been huge though if it came out in the 90s.
I think so. Yeah,
You
I
know
think
what I
so.
mean?
Yeah.
Like this would have a huge following. It would have been a big success if it came out back then.
It's unfortunate because it stars Rachel McAdams. I think she's one of the most unappreciated actresses working today. And here's
People are
another.
saying this is her best performance.
Yeah, and it's just too bad that she hasn't really found a property or hasn't found like the right movie to really break out in a big way. But she's still kind of a reliable actress. So I think it might, this movie just might be destined to find its audience in VOD or streaming and stuff like that. So who knows?
Then let's talk about the surprise success of Star Wars, right? Because it did pretty well.
I was surprised about it landing in number 4.
Yeah,
Me too.
Especially after there was really no big hullabaloo about the movie or about the re-release.
Maybe it was a Star Wars Celebration recently, but yeah, I mean,
They didn't even give away free posters. I was expecting them to give away free posters of the new artwork.
oh,
It's a really nice poster.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's a terrific poster. Yeah.
That's strange. I'm sure they did that for Empire a couple years ago.
They're putting the poster up for pre-order on May the 4th. Yeah, you can pay for it. You can pay for it.
Wow.
Well, let's talk about the rest of the top 10.
All right, coming in number 6 is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves. Number 7 is Air. Number 8 is Ponniyin Selvan, the Part 2. Number 9 is Covenant. And number 10 is Sisu.
All right, Rich, you wanted to talk about Sisu.
Yeah, this is the other big disappointment of the week. I mean, and once again, it's from Lionsgate, who went up against themselves. But they only put it out in 1,000 screens. It just didn't reach its audience. I mean, this should have grabbed some of the John Wick audience, and
I think it did, though. I mean, they only put it in 1,000 screens, so I mean, it at least managed to have a better theater average than the other Lionsgate movie, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. So, in that regard, it's still successful enough, I guess. I mean, like they're not losing as much money as they are with Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
well, I was just hoping it would reach the top 5 at best. So.
Now let's shift our focus to the upcoming releases. Rich, what are some of the films that we can expect to hit theaters this week?
Opening up wide this weekend is only one film and one film only. It's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is the hotly anticipated MCU film from filmmaker James Gunn, which is the final chapter of his Guardians trilogy. And it just might be the last time you'll see this particular configuration of these beloved characters. The film also explores Rocket's origins, including a mysterious figure from Rocket's past who goes by the name of the High Evolutionary.
Yeah, so this is one of the most highly anticipated films of the year. It ends, like Rich was saying, this ends James Gunn's trilogy. It has a lot of buzz. It's got a good reaction from the initial screenings. Raymond, you got a chance to see an early screening. What's your thoughts on the movie?
Well, I guess I should say that I love the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies. And the second one, while I think has a very good story, I loved what James Gunn was trying to do with fathers and sons with that film. I think that movie kind of suffered a little bit from the humor. I think he just went a little bit too overboard with the comedy, and some of the characters even kind of lost what they were in the first film. And this movie, the third one, I think is a huge step up, a huge step up from the last one. But I do think it still has a little bit of the comedy problem where some of the characters this time around, for me, it was Nebula and Adam Warlock. They're just too comedic. And to the point that it's a bit of a detriment to the film at times. But what made this movie really good for me was the Rocket storyline, which actually takes up half the movie. And the Rocket storyline and the High Evolutionary, all that stuff really, really worked for me. It's kind of like Marvel's version of like Island of Dr. Moreau and Watership Down. And I really enjoyed it. And it really, of the 3 Guardians movies, this really is the one that felt most like a James Gunn movie. It didn't really feel that much like an MCU film. It felt more like a James Gunn thing. It felt more like Suicide Squad than it did the other Guardians movies, and I like that about it. And so for me, while the movie does have issues and flaws, I think the good greatly outweighed the bad, and I give it a thumbs up.
Okay. Out of all three soundtracks, which one's the best?
the first one.
Okay.
I guess the big question on everyone's minds is, will Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 be a box office juggernaut?
I think so.
Yeah, I hope it's satisfactory to all the MCU fans, the original MCU fans who enjoyed the original Guardians so far. It's got to be the best out of the Phase 4 and basically
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
It's better than everything in Phase 4.
Yeah, I think there's a potential here to rake in a lot of money at the box office. But I don't think this movie is going to be like the savior that Marvel needs now.
But wait, hold up. But because the first Guardians made 773 million, and then the second one made about 100 million more. And I bring that up because Thor: Love and Thunder made about the same as the first Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think this movie it will definitely outgross Thor: Love and Thunder. But what do you guys think? Is this going to outgross Love and Thunder, which matched about what the first Guardians made?
I think so. This is the first big movie of the summer so far, and this has a lot of time. I mean, if it's really that good, everyone's going to see it once, twice, maybe 3 times a lady, and those ticket sales will add up.
I think it's going to do well. I think it's going to have a long stretch in the box office. I think the opening number is going to be a little bit lower. I think it's tracking to make about 130 million. I think that sounds about right.
Absolutely. Do you think it will outgross Volume 2, like in the total worldwide run?
The problem is, it is getting some mixed reviews by some of the first reactions.
It is getting kind of mixed reviews from people, and I can see why, because the movie is very dark. Like what I said, half the movie, half is Rocket's storyline, and his stuff is like kind of like Island Dr. Moreau, Watership Down stuff. So it is really dark, but so was Joker.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that made $1 billion. And the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I would assume, are more popular than Joker, but none of them have made $1 billion. You know what I mean? And this is like the darkest. This is like the farewell to the team.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think I want this to at the very least make 900 million, because I want it to be the most successful of the 3 Guardians movies. I still kind of like the first one more. I think the first one's just kind of the best one of the 3. But this is the most James Gunn of the 3 films. This is the least MCU of the 3 movies. This is the darkest, and I love all that about it. You know what I mean? So I want the movies to succeed. It's way better than the rest of the Marvel movies have been coming out, and I'm happy to say that, because I've been so over Marvel. But this shows, if you bring in a writer director and you give him the freedom, even if he is forced to retcon certain things, or because Gamora was murdered in Infinity War, so that he has to kind of work around that, he still makes it work, and you can't say that about Peyton Reed.
Well, I think that secret weapon, though, that we forgot to mention is Chris Pratt.
Yeah, he's great in the movie.
And I think not a lot of people give him enough credit.
What a great year for him, right? With Mario and this.
And I think, even leading up to the release of Mario, Super Mario Brothers, people were giving some crap. And I know there's certain corners of the internet that they just don't like this guy. But I think for a normal audience, the normies out there, they love this guy. And I think Chris Pratt is going to push this over the top. I think the popularity of him, or who he is, and I think that's going to help the box office for Guardians Volume 3. So, I think it's going to end up being probably the best in the franchise. But it's going to take a while, though.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it does well.
Okay, now let's talk about limited release. Rich, tell us what movies are coming out in limited.
Opening up in limited release is Love Again. This is the new romantic drama about 2 random strangers who fall in love because of a misdialed text message. This stars Priyanka Chopra Jones and Outlander's Sam Heughan, with a special guest appearance by Celine Dion, who's playing herself. Also coming out in limited release is What's Love Got to Do With It? This is the new British cross-cultural rom-com that stars Lily James as an English documentary filmmaker who documents her Pakistani friend's arranged marriage. Star Trek Discovery's Shahzad Latif also stars in the film, with a supporting turn by Emma Thompson. Also coming out in limited is Chile 76. This is the critically acclaimed Chilean historical drama that exploded onto the scene at last year's Cannes Film Festival, wowing critics.
All right, that's some really interesting counter programming there.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Love Again does okay, just because I've been seeing so much marketing for the movie on social media.
Yeah, yeah.
And and for a while, like for over a month, I've just been seeing a lot of marketing for that movie, and I think what's her face?
Celine Dion.
No, not
Priyanka Chopra Jones.
She has a big following, I think, on like Instagram and stuff. So
Well, I think it might be Celine Dion. I think she might grab the 84 Brady crowd and make it, And
I didn't even know she was in the movie.
yeah, no, that's the whole thing.
That's the whole idea. Yeah, Celine is playing herself.
I haven't seen the trailers for this movie. I keep seeing the two leads
right.
promoting it and popping up in ads and seeing the posters, and I'm like, what is this crap?
Well, I know Celine Dion did a couple new tracks for the film itself. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
And then Priyanka Chopra Jonas is also in the new Amazon series, The Citadel, which was a big deal the last week or so. Speaking of streaming, Rich, what's coming out on streaming?
absolutely nothing. No original movies this weekend.
We also forgot to mention last week that Scream 6 is now streaming on Paramount Plus, and Champions is on Peacock, which is a basketball comedy that stars Woody Harrelson.
Right.
Okay, that's about it for this report. Thank you for watching InsideFlix. We'll be back next week. We'll see how well the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 does in the box office. We're expecting big things, and we'll talk about the new movies coming out next week. All right, thank you for watching, and goodbye, everyone.